Wait a minute. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be in the background. No, I'm just kidding. What's up, guys? Welcome to AYS. Yes, it's different. I know it's weird. I'm already getting comments like Ryan's in here saying this is going to be weird. Kenny Futch is in here. Are you ready, Tigers? Let's go. Anthony B, let's go. I know. Listen, guys, it's going to be weird. It's going to be different. Blake is on vacation, so I am taking his place for tonight. Look, we want to wish him a enjoyable time with him and his wife. He's away from the kids, getting to enjoy just being away from everything, being away, and that includes being away from here, being away from AYS, being away from the house, being away from the kids. He's enjoying time on vacation. But don't worry. He's gonna be back tomorrow, so don't freak out. Don't lose it. So he's gonna be back tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to tonight. We got a lot of things to discuss tonight. We're going to, of course, recap the LSU baseball series versus Kentucky. And then at 7:15, my brother, the co-host of Tigers Avenue, is going to join me, and we'll discuss some LSU basketball. I know you're like, why are we going to talk basketball? A lot of things have been heating up in the transfer portal for both men's and women's. And so we're going to discuss those things, give you some insight onto what's been happening, kind of a little bit of what we've been hearing. Reagan will give you the inside scoop on men's basketball. I'll give you a little bit on women's basketball. And then at 7:30, Carter, the Power Bryant, is going to join us to discuss all things spring football. I got to be honest with y'all. I haven't kept up a whole lot with LSU football. I know. Shame on me for doing so, but I haven't kept up with LSU football that much because I've been so heavily invested in LSU baseball and everything going on with basketball behind the scenes. So I'm going to really have to rely on Carter to kind of help me out and catch me up on everything spring football. I do have some questions for him, some things I want to ask. But let's go ahead and let's get to some comments before we take a quick break. Bradley Rice said, Zach hacked the page. I love it. Jacob Wiggins, let's go. Anthony B, well-deserved vacation for sure. I mean, we all need a vacation every now and then. We all need a break. It is what it is. Kenny Futch said, hey, Zach, what's up, man? By the way, it's ZAC. Come on, bro. You gotta get it right. Let's see. He said, well, okay, there we go. You spelled it right now. There we go. Kristen said, Ryan, facts. Yeah, it's going to be weird. It is what it is. It's all good. Blake is away from Twitter and Notre Dame fans, though. That's facts. I've been seeing him getting at the Notre Dame fans, which, I mean, really, they don't have a whole lot to argue. It's just straight facts. I mean, they're 11th and LSU's in the top 5. So they really don't have a whole lot to argue. So they really shouldn't be going back and forth with Blake because they don't really have a good foundation to stand on. So, it is what it is. All right. Hey, guys, listen, if y'all want to, because I'm running the show, I'm not going to be in the background running the comments. I'm not going to be running all the different things that I do in the background. So y'all do me a favor and go ahead and send me, if you want to ask me any questions, feel free to ask. I would love to address any questions y'all have. Just send #AskZach. That way I can actually see them and point them out. I'm going to try to get to as many comments as we can. I know Blake does an awesome job at doing that. So I'm going to try and do that as best as I can. But I'm a one-man show tonight. There's nobody in the background like typical helping me run the show. So it's just me. It's just your boy. So y'all ask me any questions in regards to baseball, in regards to basketball and the transfer portal. We will be discussing those things very briefly and here soon. But let's go ahead and let's get into some LSU baseball. So, look, guys, I know it's not the result that everybody wants. I mean, every time you go into a series, you want to sweep. You want to win all the games, right? As a fan, that's what you want to see your team do. But we know that what you need to do in college baseball is you just need to win the series. And I think LSU has done a phenomenal job of doing that. They've done a phenomenal job of just putting the pieces together. And when they've had adversity, they've put the pieces together in order to win the series. And they haven't lost a series yet. I know they had the draw with South Carolina because of the game being canceled, the game 3 being canceled, but they haven't lost a series yet. And we're going to get more into what the future looks like for LSU baseball as their schedule is going to lighten up tremendously, but they have done what they needed to do. They've won this series. So I'm not going to break down the entire, I'm not going to go inning by inning, in each game and discuss all these different things. But I really want to hit on some key things from these series, the good, the bad, major moments in game 2, major moments in game 3 that really were the reason for the outcomes of both of those games. And so I want to hit on that and then kind of do a little bit of what should we expect now moving forward, because we're past the midway point in the season, and me and Reagan will address this heavily on our show later tonight after this show. But I want to kind of address some of the things now that we're at the midway point in the season, looking at, what are some things that LSU can do to improve? What are some things that we just kind of have to accept? And where is LSU really good at? So we're going to discuss all those things tonight. But listen, I gotta say this first. It may not be Blake, but I tried my best. To give off a Blake vibe. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I got the hat. I mean, it's not a hat I don't know if it'd be a hat he'd wear or not. I don't know. He may be in here. I think he's in here. So, Blake, if you're in here, feel free to comment. Would this be a hat that you would wear? So I had to wear a hat. Typically, I don't wear a hat, but I had to wear a hat, because it is Blake's show. And then, I've got the fishing, Columbia. I think it's Columbia, or maybe it's Drake. No, it's Drake. I got the Drake Fishing LSU shirt on. I'm feeling good. I'm giving off all these Blake Ruffino vibes. I'm trying my best here. So, but let's go ahead and let's get into it. First, we'll look at a few comments before we take a quick break and we get to betonline.ag and GM Varno and Sons. Let's see what we got so far. Blake is just tired of our crap. That's what Jeremy Hines said. Hey, sometimes it be that way. Listen, sometimes it be that way. And I mean, sometimes y'all say some stupid stuff. I'll just be honest. Look, I'm being honest here. Sometimes I say stupid stuff. Reagan can attest to it. Look, I said that LSU basketball, the team this year, would have a more talented roster than last year. We have bad takes. It's okay. I've had plenty of bad takes. Sometimes y'all have bad takes. So yeah, Blake's probably a little tired. You gotta love it. Everything that's going on right now with LSU sports. I'm really excited to get to dive into everything. So let's go ahead. Let's take a quick break. Let's hear from our friends at betonline.ag and GM Varno and Sons, and we'll be back in a minute 30.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varno & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varno & Sons, go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by.
All right, guys, we are back. And like I said, I'm not going to break down the entire, each inning of LSU versus Kentucky game 2 and game 3. But I really just want to highlight some major moments in those games. So game 2, obviously, LSU starts out really strong. They're up 6-2. Feels like you're going to be able to win the series and move on to game 3. And hopefully in game 3, you can get, the slew of bullpen arms that come in and try and get you to sweep. I mean, I was feeling really confident. I was able to sit here and just chill and watch the game. And so 6-2, I'm feeling good, especially considering what happened on Thursday night's game. I was feeling good about it. Ty Floyd looked pretty good. I mean, he does what he usually does. He usually is a little sloppy in the first inning, and then he kind of hits his groove. I mean, that's just how Ty Floyd is going to be. I mean, he's going to be a little. The way I've put it is he is inconsistently good. Like, he's going to give up a home run every now and then, but he's going to do what he has to do to stretch. He did it against Arkansas. He did it against Tennessee. He did it this weekend against Kentucky. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be perfect, but he's going to do what he has to do to get the job done. Now, would I like to see him take a step up and, be able to get past them shaky moments early on? Yeah, for sure. I think LSU is going to have that in order to make a deep postseason run. But that's kind of one of the things that we kind of like have to accept right now. Like, that's just what it is with Ty Floyd. That's just who Ty Floyd is right now. Now, hopefully he can take that step up, and we'll see later on. But that's what it is right now. So in game 2, you're up 6-2, and really the entirety of game 2 boils down to one half inning, and that is the bottom of the 5th. In the bottom of the 5th, Ty Floyd gets the first 2 outs, and then he gets a little shaky. They go and pull him. I personally think they probably should have left him in a little bit longer. I think they went and got him a little too soon. I would have liked to see him finish the 5th and then come out for the 6th, maybe not finish the 6th inning, because he was getting high in pitch count. I think he was like high 80s, maybe low 90s. So he was getting up there in pitch count. So I understand why they went and got him. But I think I would have liked to see him stay a little bit longer to see if he could have got through that inning and then try to see if you could stretch him a little bit in the 6th. But they go and get him, and Griffin Herron does what he's supposed to do. He executed his pitches, and unfortunately, 2 major errors is what kept Kentucky still batting in that inning. Of course, there was the hot shot that went to third. Tommy was not able to field it. There's that error, which that then loads the bases, and you're like, oh boy, here we go. But Griffin Herron does what he's supposed to do. He executes a pitch. He gets the batter to pop up. Braden Jobert misreads it. It drops fair, and all 3 score. And that was the major momentum shift in the game. And that is the area that I look at in game 2. And I was like, that's what cost you the game. Because if Griffin Herron is able to come in, he did. I mean, he did. It wasn't a matter of if he was able to or not. He did come in and execute and do what he was supposed to do. But your fielding is what ended up hurting you and pretty much ended up making you cost that game. And that's been a concern for me lately, because at the beginning of the season, they were looking really good. I mean, it's already a whole lot better than it was last year. We already know that. But it has definitely slipped a lot here recently. They were near the top of the country for the majority of the season, and now here recently I think they're still in the top 10, but they're near the bottom half of the top 10 in the country in fielding. It may have changed since this weekend and because of the errors they had this weekend, but that's definitely a concern for me moving forward. And that's ultimately what cost you game 2, was the inability to field properly and be able to back up the pitchers, because I think overall in game 2, the pitchers did really well. Again, they weren't perfect. They're not going to be. When you are faced with the adversity that LSU has been faced with this season and all of the injuries that they have acquired, like, you're going to have some really solid defense to back up the pitchers, and you're going to have to save them every now and then. So making critical mistakes in fielding is not going to help you. It's only going to make things worse, especially with this bullpen. And I mean, there's guys that I think I've taken that have definitely taken a step up. And that's what you ultimately need from this LSU baseball team right now. You need guys that are in the bullpen that are going to take a step up. And we saw some of that this weekend. Bryce Collins took a major step up this weekend. The breaking ball is absolutely nasty. I'm a little worried because, like, that's all that he's got going for him right now. But right now, hitters can't locate it. I mean, there was one moment in that game where he got touched and went foul. But right now, the breaking ball is really working for him. So Bryce Collins has come out of nowhere, where at the beginning of the season, you really didn't know if you were going to be able to have him. Obviously, Gavin Guidry, Griffin Herring, like, you're going to have guys step up. Christian Little, what he did on game 3, going 3 innings, that was massive. That was really good. For him to go 3 innings, I understand like the 4th inning was not great. I think you're probably stretching him a little bit too much there. But to get 3 solid innings of him of 3 up, 3 down work, that you need that going forward for LSU. Like you have to have that. So game 2, it is what it is. It's unfortunate right now. I think you kind of have to take the punches with where LSU is at right now. And that's going to happen. And like I said, the schedule is going to lighten up. We're about to look at that here briefly. But to go to game 3, and it, I mean, as y'all know, it was back and forth game, just back and forth, back and forth. Kentucky would score, we would score. Kentucky would score, we would score. And in the top of the 7th, they go up 2 runs. And that was a point in the game where I got nervous. I was like, okay, is this where, our bullpen isn't able to hold up and our hitting's not quite there today? And is this where LSU slips up and loses a series? But they came back in the 7th inning, and you had JT come up with an extremely clutch 2-out, 2-strike hit to bring around Trey Morgan. He gets to second. Kay Beloso comes up, gets an extremely clutch 2-out, 2-strike single on the right side that scores Jordan Thompson, and you're right back in the game. And then ultimately we know what happened in the 7th inning. Bases get loaded because of walks and intentionally walking Dylan. Braden Jobert had a single to start it off in the 8th. And then ultimately you walk Cruz to get to Tommy, and it was too big of a moment for the pitcher. He plunks Tommy White, and that's all you needed because Bryce Collins was nails. It was a massive win for LSU. I know it continues to be disappointing, and it's frustrating for me as a fan, and obviously for y'all as fans. It's frustrating to know that what LSU had in this pitching staff could potentially be elite, and right now we just do not have that. So I think we need to be happy with what we are getting right now from this bullpen. And we are forgetting, there's so many people on Twitter and around college baseball saying like LSU shouldn't be number 1. LSU shouldn't be number 1 because, they're like 6th in the SEC standings. But ultimately, you have played the best SEC competition outside of Florida and Vanderbilt. You've played the best SEC competition in these first 5 weeks. And so now it lessens a lot. Let me go ahead and show y'all what we got for the rest of the SEC schedule coming up. So LSU Bombs tweeted this, and I'll have to fix this a little bit because I know Blake. Blake is somewhere in the background. He's hiding. I know. Reagan's coming up shortly. We're almost done with baseball. Calm out. Calm down. All right? It's all good. So we play Ole Miss this weekend. Ole Miss is currently sitting at 3-12. You play Bama at home. Right now they're 6-9. You go to Auburn. They're 5-10. You face State at home. So that's to correct that from LSU Bombs. You have State at home, but you play them. They're 5-10, and then you go to Georgia, who is currently sitting at 4-11. The schedule is going to get a lot easier. So keep your head up, LSU fans. I understand it's frustrating with the bullpen, and I understand you see everything that's getting put out on social media that this isn't the number 1 team in the country. They deserve to be put back a few spots. But I'm chill. I'm cool with it. I'm fine. Considering what LSU has had to face, I'm fine. Okay, let's hit some quick comments. I'm done with LSU baseball. There we go. You're good. All good. I know y'all want to hear a lot more about football and potentially basketball. We'll get to Reagan here very briefly. But let's hit some quick comments. This old vet said, "Dang, Zach is growing up." Look, I'm going to surprise you. Whenever y'all meet Reagan, for those of you who are watching that haven't gotten to see Reagan or meet Reagan yet, you're going to think I'm the young one, but really I'm 3.5 years older than him. So when he gets on here, I am growing up a little bit. I'm growing up a little bit, but 26 at the end of the month. So, I guess I don't know if that's old or not, but it is growing up. So pretty cool. Blake is in here. He said, we want Reagan. this is Blake. LMAO. I do appreciate it. He said Zach is killing it. I appreciate that. Yeah, we got to address this. Who Bear Jones? Bear Jones is a gangster. He's a straight up gangster. Like 2 home runs on Saturday's game. Had some words for the pitcher. Look, dude, if you don't want to have to confront a grizzly bear, then don't fast pitch him, because then he's gonna hurt you, and that's ultimately what happened on Friday. So I've enjoyed this time talking about baseball, guys. Keep your heads up. I'm really looking forward to these next 5 series because I really think LSU is going to be able to steal a sweep here or there. I really think 20 wins in the SEC is extremely obtainable. I really believe that. Let's see, how the pitching staff does. Let's see if they continue to stay healthy, the rest of the pitching staff. Let's see if we're able to get some guys back. Maybe you get back Javon Coleman here soon. We saw him warming up. Let's see. I love this. Jacob Wiggins said Cocaine Bear Jones. Yeah, he was on something on Saturday because he was hitting some jacks. So it was awesome to see. All right, guys, let's take a quick break. We're going to talk about our friends over at State Farm and Carol Foss over at State Farm. And then we'll be right back with Reagan joining us to discuss LSU basketball, men's and women's, in the transfer portal.
Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Foss and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Foss has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements.
All right, we're joined by the one and only Reagan Lee, my co-host at Tigers Avenue. What's going on, bud?
It's the TA takeover. That's what this is.
TA takeover, bro.
TA takeover right here.
We're here. Dude, I'm so glad you're getting to join us. Obviously appreciate Blake for letting me host.
Absolutely.
And
appreciate it, Blake.
Might be the first time that you've been on the show. I believe it might be. Is it?
I can't remember, honestly. I can't remember.
I think it's the first time you've been on the show.
Maybe so.
So, Reagan, obviously, very briefly, quick take on the baseball weekend, and then really we got to get into basketball and discuss kind of all these things that have been, we've seen a lot of things behind the scenes. We've obviously seen some guys transfer out, seen some guys coming in. So very briefly, what's your take on the baseball weekend?
Baseball weekend, my immediate response to it is, considering the injuries you've had to the bullpen, and your pitching staff in general, you did what you had to do, and you got the job done. Yeah. The goal each weekend is to win the series, and I think people forget that. Like, the goal in baseball is to win series. You're not I think there's been several people that have said this in recent time in lieu of the baseball team. You cannot approach it with a football mentality. You just can't. You win the series. That's the goal.
Yeah.
LSU wins the series. I don't care how they win it. Zach, this is how close this series was. Just to another take I had on it is Kentucky's for real. Yeah, Kentucky's a for real good baseball team. This is how competitive the baseball series was. You are a drop fly ball from sweeping the series, potentially, or you are a 2-out 8th inning rally from losing a home series.
Yeah.
Like, 2 plays, you could either swept this series or lost this series.
And that's honestly how it's been for a lot of LSU series.
Extremely close, and you must take into account that LSU's. We've played now 5 straight series against top 15 teams, and 3 of those, if I'm remembering correctly, were against top 10. So LSU is doing what they're supposed to do. They have won all of their SEC series,
Yeah.
and that has not been done, Zach. I went through the last several years. I told you on our show a while back, we had not won our first 3 SEC series since like 2013, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. It's
And
10
you've
years.
won your first. Well, I know one we split because South Carolina, but you've won like 5 essentially now. And with or 4 with one tie.
Yeah.
Hadn't been done in a very long time. So LSU's doing just fine. You did what you needed to do.
So, Reagan, obviously, I know basketball right now is not a huge topic, but, considering that women's basketball obviously just won a national championship,
Right.
Matt McMahon, obviously, in his first season, wasn't great. It wasn't a great performance. I don't think it was their best, but Matt McMahon worked with what he had to. Obviously, we know coming in, he had basically no scholarship players. Had to completely revamp the roster, and it was what it was. I had the horrible take of saying that they could potentially be more talented than last year's team.
Oh, man.
We all make mistakes. We're only human, right? Probably the worst take I've ever had on LSU sports, but it is what it is. Okay. So
it is what it is.
Matt McMahon now is in charge of revamping an entire roster again, because you've seen guys like Adam Miller transfer out. We found out he's going to Arizona State. You found obviously Justice Williams, he's gone. KJ Williams is gone. So many guys are gone, which we found out Justice Williams where he was going today as well. So many guys are gone. How does Matt McMahon revamp this basketball team? And give us some insight. Who are the guys they've already gotten, and who are some guys that you believe they are heavily targeting right now in the men's basketball transfer portal?
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't been paying attention, which some of you may not been, you may have like completely tuned basketball out till come next November. And after the season you had, I can't blame you, right? I mean, it was very ho-hum. But you got to give Matt McMahon, cut him some slack. First year, like you said, 0 scholarship players. It was rough. But Matt McMahon is putting some work into the portal. If you have not been paying attention, he has been working the portal, and things are on the up and up. I will tell you that. He's taken a little playbook from Brian Kelly, hitting the portal, looking for some Louisiana native guys, some Baton Rouge natives who played well at their previous schools, who are now in the portal. This is the type of like Greg Brooks, Joe Fouché type of players that Brian Kelly got, and that's what he's looking at now. And 2 of them he's already landed. As you all know, Jalen Cook and Jordan Wright. Jalen Cook, Zach, is going to be a great addition to LSU because he is a guy who can go out and score a lot of points. I mean, 20 is nothing for him. He averaged 19. So he's putting up 20 pretty regularly. And in a few of his games, he put up over 30. Jordan Wright is a little bit more inconsistent on the offensive side of the ball, but also can have nights where he puts up 20. Jordan Wright has like highs and lows. I mean, if you go look at his season, there's nights when he's dropping like 6, 7, but then there's other nights when he's 13, 14, 15, and then when he's at his best, he's putting up 20, 22. And also he just adds he adds like size at your guard position, because some of the other guys you're looking at in the portal, along with Jalen Cook, who's already been added, you need some more size. And so Jordan can be that like 2-3 for you and add some size to your lineup if you want to go kind of guard heavy. The biggest one so far, which I don't know, Jalen Cook may be the biggest. So far, Will Baker, your production this past season was crucial at the 5 with KJ Williams, a guy who you heavily leaned on. He's going to the draft. You have to replace KJ Williams. And they did, and they did really well. Will Baker is a seriously talented center. He's 7 foot tall. He is a very athletic 7-footer. Like, you go if you have not ever seen Will Baker play, typically when you see a 7-footer, it's kind of lanky and it doesn't look very fluid. Will Baker at 7 feet is a problem. He is a problem. He is way more athletic than most 7-foot guys. He shoots 36% from behind the arc.
Yeah,
So that's another thing. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing KJ could do. Is not only can Will get into the paint and has size and is athletic, he can shoot it from deep. So also another stat that just jumps off the page. Dude shot 56% this year from the field. Like, extremely efficient. Former top 30 recruit out of Austin, Texas. Originally went to the Longhorns, transferred to Nevada, and now he's coming to LSU. Huge addition for Matt McMahon. Those are who you have now. Obviously, you've had 7 players leave, 8 in total, including KJ going to the draft. So you're going to need some more. You're retaining some players. I think you're going to retain Derek Fountain. You're retaining Tyrell Ward. I think you're going to retain Jalen Reed. I told you a while back that if anybody on the whole team that's in the portal right now that I wish would have stayed is Sean Phillips, because I think Sean Phillips had some great upside. Maybe he could convince him to come back. I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening. So you need to add more players, and they're already looking at them. I mean, if you want to start keeping up with like how much Matt McMahon is active in the portal, go on Twitter and follow either John Rothstein or Joe Tipton with On3. Joe Tipton is giving you lots of portal updates all day long. In fact, these next 2 days, on Sunday, he said the next 2 days are going to be really busy in terms of portal commitments. So be on the lookout, because LSU could be one of them. Because he said it's going to be like double-digit announcements in the next 2 days. Go follow Joe Tipton if you want updates. He's also listing just players in the portal and how many teams have contacted them and what teams have contacted them. And LSU is on a lot of stinking lists. I mean, he's on a lot of lists. Matt McMahon has been busy. He's been doing work. So some of the other guys that have like made contact, and they're not just made contact, but gone a little further, is Joe Girard and BJ Mack. Joe Girard is another elite shooter.
Feels like he is like the Adam Miller replacement. I mean, I think he averages like almost 3 a game. 3 threes a game.
He averaged 16 points a game.
16 points a game, 3 threes a game, something like that.
He shoots like 38% from behind the arc this past year. What seems to be a very heavy trend in Matt McMahon in the portal this year is guys who can score a lot, because last year the offense was a struggle. Sometimes it was a struggle. I don't think it's going to be a struggle this year. I mean, Jalen Cook, Will Baker, Jordan Wright, Joe Girard, guys who can drop a lot of points on any given night. Another one is BJ Mack. He averaged I think it was 16 points a game. He actually played against LSU. He's transferred from Wofford. He put up 18 points against LSU early in the season and 9 boards. He's more of a 4-5. He could play your 5 if you need him to. I think he's, if I remember correctly, he's like 6'8" or 6'10". He went on a visit to LSU. Both Joe Girard and BJ Mack have been on visits to LSU. So be on the lookout for those commitments and where they're going here soon. Start keeping up with those guys, because Matt McMahon has brought them to campus. One other guy to keep on an eye on is another Baton Rouge native, Carlos Stewart, who is in the portal from Santa Clara. I think it's Santa Clara. I don't really know how to pronounce that. But he has averaged 15 points this past year at his school, and I mean, played really well. And he's in the portal, and everybody's kind of like, we would be surprised if he wasn't a Tiger.
Yeah, because he's Baton Rouge native, so you're expecting him to be back.
You expect him to come home. Jordan Wright has already retweeted some of Carlos' stuff and been like, hey, come home. So, you know, you kind of like, you think he's coming home. And Zach, all of these guys, every guy I have named, all of them had multiple 20-point games this past year. Multiple. So if you land, like let's say you land Joe Girard and not BJ Mack and Carlos Stewart, like you're going to be guard heavy. But if you do bring back like Jalen Reed and Derek Fountain, you can pair that with Will Baker and have some size. But I would like to see. I really want to see us add like a wing player, like a 6'7", maybe 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", like athletic, long player. Because as of right now, we don't really have that. I mean, Jalen Reed could maybe play that role. But in this offseason, hopefully Jalen will mature a lot and grow in his game. But like these are all the guys that Matt McMahon has really been in contact with and who has landed. And so it's really exciting, I think, for the men's basketball portal. I think the McMahon Makeover 2.0 is going to be a lot better than the first one. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, Reagan, I'm going to give 3 names for women's basketball that LSU fans need to look out for, and then we need to take a break and get to Carter so we can discuss spring football. So, first off, thank you, Reagan, for joining.
Yeah,
obviously, it won't be much longer. I'll see you later on for the Tigers Avenue show. But 3 names that I want LSU fans to think of for women's college basketball that have been getting a lot of traction. Okay. First one, I could be saying it wrong. India Rogers from Oregon. She's transferring out. She's been seen a lot with Angel Reese doing TikToks, all these different kind of things. Ashley Owasu, who is the guard from Maryland. She had an injury, I believe, this past year, but she can score. She can score, and she's got phenomenal handles.
Yeah.
And dare I say, potentially Haley Van Lith, which would be massive.
Yeah.
Massive. If Kim Mulkey is able to land one of those, I'm extremely excited. If she's able to land 2 of those, look out.
You need about news about Anissa Morrow?
I haven't seen anything recent. Are you talking about the DePaul?
DePaul. I heard there's a top 3 coming.
So, yeah. So, I have heard there's a lot of traction with her as well, and that potentially LSU would be in her top 3. Yes.
Top 3 is being announced soon is what I've seen.
So those are 4 names. You gave me another one, Reagan. Those are 4 names that LSU fans really need to look forward to potentially seeing maybe coming to LSU here soon. Reagan, I appreciate you joining us, bro.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Giving all the insight. Dude, you follow LSU basketball even when the casuals they've left, you know. You can tell you're a diehard, bro. You're looking at all the updates on all things transfer portal. You can tell you're a diehard, bro. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the update.
No
I'm sure Blake and all of his viewers appreciate the update, especially because we're not really getting a lot of basketball updates right now because it isn't at the forefront right now. But appreciate that. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll go to our friends over at Drake Williams law firm, and then we'll be back with Carter, the Power Brown, to discuss spring football.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino with AYS sent you on by.
I don't have the button, Carter. I'm sorry. You know that
you don't have the button?
I don't have it. Blake didn't provide me with that, so I blame him.
Well, I can't do the segment if you don't have the button. I mean, that's
Not
the
like
only thing I
fake
look
it, like,
forward
you know,
to.
we're back.
Yeah, no, the only reason I like the button is it gives me hope because I got to listen to Blake argue with me about something for 15 minutes and him lose that argument every time like he normally does on his own channel. So it's
I
good to
can't
talk.
disagree there, man. I can't disagree.
So it's good to talk to you. I feel a little guilty because I got you down the sports card rabbit hole.
You did. It's right over there. If you can see, right?
Yeah, I like
there. It is.
I like it. There you
There
go. Yeah, I
is.
see you still got your upside down pyramid.
Yeah.
And it's cool. We're doing a meetup. It's totally free on April 22nd in Bossier, the day of the spring game. It's totally free for everybody to come at the Bossier Civic Center. Patrick Queen, Jeray Jenkins will be there. Michaela Williams will be there. I heard your co-host talking about women's basketball. Michaela
they're
Williams
gonna be good next year, man.
Michaela Williams could be the next Augustus, is what they're saying.
Be.
So yeah, I love sports cards. I'm glad you are in it, and it's good to talk some football with you, man.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, obviously, I to be honest with you, and I said this at the beginning of the show, I haven't been following it as much as I should because I've been so heavily invested in LSU baseball and in the basketball recruiting front and the transfer portal, as we have discussed here in the first two segments. So, catch me up, Carter. And for those that are at home watching, listening to the audio podcast, catch us up. What is the latest news in spring football? I know, obviously, this Saturday is the spring football game. And then I know that the next window for the transfer portal is also coming up soon. So kind of catch me up on all things LSU spring football as we're approaching the fall. It's going to be here before we know it, man.
Yeah, so no news is good news, right? So this has been the deadest spring at LSU in quite some time, and that's good.
It really has.
Right? So there's no new coaches. Obviously, we're waiting to see what the defensive line coach situation is going to be. And the only other coach that changed, of course, was a special teams coach. So what people forget sometimes is there's normally not any news from like the spring itself unless somebody gets hurt, right? So these last couple of years, if you think about the offseason cycles, there was always some bigger story, right? Pre-2019, the entire offensive philosophy is changing. Pre-2020, how do you respond to the championship and the Rona? Pre-2021, seat was getting a little warm for after a bad 20. And then going into last year, the first year of Brian Kelly, the staff getting filled. This year, there's really just nothing, right? There have been a few juicy stories here and there, but not really anything worthy of big discussion football-wise.
Yeah.
And something else, and even though there is still huge disagreement, there was a visceral disagreement amongst my viewers yesterday. There is clarity at the quarterback position, right? We know Jaden is probably going to be the guy that runs out there versus Florida State, and Gary Nussmeier is likely to be involved this season in some shape, form, or fashion. So this is the clearest the quarterback room has been in quite some time as well. So things are steady, and that's what you wanted, right? You wanted LSU to be steady, and it just wasn't like that these last couple of off seasons. So as far as spring news is concerned, obviously there was a big recruiting weekend this past weekend, but for the most part, guys that get banged up, they're obviously being taken out of spring practice, which is what you should do. All teams do that anyway. So no news is good news, and I think a lot of LSU fans should be excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, it might suck for the media that they're not able to report on, the juicy stuff that's going on, all the news, but for LSU football, I think it's massive to not have any news coming out.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it yet, but it really feels like we are preparing ourselves for something big this fall. And I don't want to say, I mean, they're going to be able to contend for a championship. I fully believe that with this roster, with what Brian Kelly has brought in. I fully believe this is a team that could contend for a national championship. Now, you still got to put a lot of pieces together. Obviously, on the defensive side of the ball, there's a lot of pieces you have to fill. So, with that being said, the transfer portal is going to be opening again here soon. Is there some guys in the transfer portal maybe that you're hearing potentially, or I should say this, Carter, what are some specific position groups right now that you think LSU will address? I know Brian Kelly mentioned, that mostly that this next period was going to be for addressing the depth. They wanted to kind of address more of the depth. They're probably not going to be going after guys that you're going to come in and be like your starters, right? Who knows? Maybe that changes. But who are some position groups that they're looking at right now heading into the second transfer portal window?
Yeah, I think the most blatantly obvious one would be safety for me. Obviously, you have really only two experienced players there with Major Burns and Greg Brooks. And especially Major Burns, they have injury history. They played a lot of football up to this point, and they both have been banged up just this past week. So obviously you would like to get a very experienced safety. I personally like Kylan Jackson coming in from this last recruiting class. He's a true freshman coming out of Zachary. A lot of Blake, South Louisiana viewers are in that area, so they know all about Kylan Jackson and what he could do on special teams as well. But that's a lot, coming in the fall and playing a very complicated position right out the gate. But it's doable, especially with this talent. But you would like to get a more experienced player at that position. Now, there was an offensive tackle, I believe, that they offered out of Wyoming. I think a lot of people are going after just pretty much any offensive lineman that enters the portal. That's a position you can never have enough of. I also think they'll venture off, and this was, the focus of my videos yesterday as well. Do they need to get another running back? Someone that is very.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. So do you believe that?
Yes, I do. I mean, obviously, Armani has struggled with injury. You have two freshmen that are coming in. And then obviously with John Emery, kind of, seems like that's a little bit up in the air, obviously with his academics. I'm not saying he's going to be out, but that is worrisome to me. So then you're left with Noah Kane, a veteran back who saw some time last year and near the end of the season, obviously kind of became more involved. But then you have two really young guys in Caleb Jackson and obviously Trey Holly. I think they're going to be getting a lot of work. So I agree. I think a veteran guy, maybe not somebody, again, like Brian Kelly mentioned, that's going to come in and just be the guy, but a veteran guy that can come in and fill a role, I think would be massive.
Yeah, I see Joe on Facebook bring up Josh Williams. I love Josh Williams, and his film was really good last year, which was very shocking to me. Going into, last year, his big thing was he was reliable. He was a guy that didn't get hurt all that often. But his tape was really freaking good. And we dropped a Facebook reel on Power Hour LSU about what he did last year for LSU. And what's very interesting, Zach, is he has also been hurt. He was hurt at the end of the last season, and they're taking him very slowly into the spring. And Caleb Jackson is also coming off an injury he had last year. So obviously it just depends on how comfortable people feel that one, if not both, Caleb Jackson and Trey Holly could contribute next year. But there are quite a few people, because of the uncertainty of Armani Goodwin's health, the health and other stuff with John Emery, that maybe another back for a championship run would help out. I think the problem with that is it is a very populated group. So which running back would want to come in and say, well, I'm going to LSU. It's always been a committee back school. It would take someone really special that would be very confident about their ability to win the job, or at least carve out a role. So I think it's going to be hard to hit someone at that position in the portal. And I think the last one would be interesting is tight end, right? I think, Mason Taylor is the only guy that comes back with experience. I got the three high schoolers that are two of which are there right now, and then Kamarion Pimpton, Markway, and of course McGohan are already there. I have a really high grade on Pimpton. He's in my top 5 players that LSU brought in from this last class, and I think he's really good, but he's not played a whole lot of tight end. He's more of a Kyle Pitts who is on, the outside, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. Obviously, LSU is going to look at their board and look at things over this next week. And for those that don't know, this portal window is open. It opened 2 days ago, and it's going to be open until the 30th. So 8 days after the spring game, you can expect some activity.
So to go back briefly on the running back, is there a type of running back? Maybe you have a name of some guy or some names that are in there now. Or is there a specific type? Are we looking for a bruiser? Are we looking for a home run hitter? Is there a specific type of running back that you potentially would like to see LSU target?
Yeah, I think that they would prefer someone bigger, right? I think, most of the backs in that room are not of that variety. It's part of the reason why I like Caleb Jackson so much is that he is a unit. He's over 205, probably around 210. I'm not going to get too deep into this data. I've done it before on Blake's channel, but historically, the heavier you are as a running back, the higher your rate of success is, in particular at LSU. So they're going to look maybe to find not someone not like a JC Copeland, if you will, but someone out there that is bigger and can take the blows of the SEC linebackers that are out there. So it's a good question here from Joe. Let's see. Running back room is crowded. Do you think someone moves on after spring? Obviously, Josh isn't going anywhere, Joe. I think Noah is here to stay as well. He is from Baton Rouge, and I think Noah Kane is going to be very involved with LSU next year. Goodwin, I think, will probably hang around as well. Same thing for John Emery. I don't know where else he would go at this point. So, obviously, I think there's a high possibility that all 6 of them that are on scholarship will remain at LSU. But, Doug, for those that don't know, Doug and I are really close. Pineville, shout out, LC, let's go. I love me some Caleb Jackson. I think he is really freaking good. I wish I could click on your comments. I feel like I'm doing my own show right now. Shout out to Blake Ruffino. I hope he's having the absolute best time. I do agree with Big Cojones. Josh Williams was the best back hands down last season. Totally agree with that. Alabama game was legendary, and the run versus Florida out of half was truly spectacular. Let's go to Jeff here. Carter, who is wide receiver 2? We obviously know Malik is the guy. I think, Jeff, the more interesting question would be, who is wide receiver number 3? I feel pretty good about BTJ being the wide receiver number 2. And then I would guess Kyron Lacey at this point is going to be wide receiver number 3, but that very well could change. And something else, Jeff, to keep in mind is LSU might run more 12 personnel, which is 2 tight end formations, which means only 2 wide receivers are going to be on the field next year. So obviously it depends on how you feel about some of these other names that really haven't shown a whole lot up to this point, Jeff. I think obviously Chris Hilton was put in front of the media. That's a guy I think a lot of people are cheering for. Once again, I know Blake has a lot of, people in Zachary. I think obviously you look at someone like Aaron Anderson. We'll see. Aaron Anderson was for me, Zach, I think he was my number 3 wide receiver coming out of Louisiana. My number 1 guy was Xavion Thomas, who's at Mississippi State right now. He had a crazy catch in the spring game this past weekend for Mississippi State. But yeah, I have high hopes for Aaron Anderson going into next year. I don't know how you feel.
Oh, I'm excited, man. I mean, that was a guy out of high school that, I think every LSU fan wanted. And then, of course, ultimately he goes to pretty much, for LSU fans, their arch nemesis, right? But gladly welcome him back to the state and to LSU. So I'm super excited to see him. And thank you for holding it down for me as my internet decided to be a Rudy Poo in Blake's words. So
don't say that. Rudy Poo. That okay. Here's my thing. I think I like the phrase Rudy Poo because it's a Blakeism. But if anyone else says it, it's like if you just said Rudy Poo, like if you dropped like let's say a can of Prego in the middle of Rouse's and you just yelled out, "This is just Rudy Poo," people would be like, "Who is this guy?
What is he saying? Like,
is he off his meds? What's going on?"
You're right. Well, I'll just say it crapped out then. I won't say Rudy Poo.
No.
I'm trying. I'm trying to get my inner Blake vibes. You know, I got the hat. I got like the fishing LSU,
right.
button up going on, So I'm trying to like, for those that listen, obviously I don't sound like Blake, but maybe they'll just for a second think it's Blake. Who knows? Who knows? Well, Carter, listen, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show and holding it down for me because, as I said, I couldn't be able to do spring football. Not right now. That's for sure.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I get it. Hey, look, I keep up with LSU baseball at a distance. Obviously, you and Blake and everybody else does a way better job of covering it. But I keep getting told Dylan Cruz is him. I see I see Thurman Thomas tweeting it out at the game, Uncle Thurm and all that stuff. I actually got my first autographed Dylan Cruz thing a few weeks ago. So
I'm jealous.
I guess I got to go all in now. I guess Dylan Cruz, like, what are they expecting him to be like Mookie Betts at like the next level, or what is it?
I mean, I'm interested to see what he'll do at the next level for sure. But to be honest, like, in my opinion, I fully believe this is the greatest LSU baseball player that I have watched in all of my, and I've
best,
the best,
better than Brad Cressy, better than DJ
in my lifetime. I said in my lifetime, which is Mikey Ma took, Aaron Nola.
Wait, you weren't alive for Brad Cressy?
I probably was alive, but I probably wasn't watching.
Oh, okay.
I started watching in like 07, 08. Is when I got heavily involved in LSU sports. So, past that time is when I really got involved with LSU sports. And
so who would the hierarchy be? It would be Dylan Cruz. I guess Dylan Cruz
Bregman.
is number one now. So Alex, go ahead. So it would be Dylan. Let me just do my best guess here.
Okay.
So it would be Dylan Cruz, Alex Bregman, then Ben McDonald would have to be part of that, right? I know I know it's different with the pitchers and all that stuff. Yeah. And then Todd Walker, Eddie Furness, maybe. But so I guess Todd Walker would have to be up there too.
Yeah, Todd Walker, I would say is for sure top 5, if not.
Okay.
If he's top 5.
So what about so would LeMahieu for sure be under Bregman?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Yes.
I will say this. I was able to go to the College World Series in 09, got to stay the full 2 weeks. Man, that double that DJ LeMahieu hit in the 9th inning of that Texas game, I still get chills thinking about it.
Yeah.
It was so clutch. I was like, God, dog. I couldn't imagine. And I know the Wally. I mean, I know Morris is always going to be the big hit. Right. It'll never get bigger than that.
Yeah.
But because that hit was so big, people forget. We may not win the World Series if it wasn't for DJ LeMahieu hitting that double. And Texas was still coached by like Augie Garrido and all. I mean, that Texas team was loaded. But
and correct me if I'm wrong. Because I was like 10 years old. Chad Jones was pitching for that team.
Chad Jones, yes. Chad Jones, Jared Mitchell, Sean Ochenko, Anthony Renato. That team was full of personalities. Buzzy Heidel, who does the radio now.
Yeah.
That was a very fun time. And I got to be there the full 2 weeks. And it was so freaking cool. Omaha. If you're on the fence about going to Omaha, and just go ahead and start planning now and just predict that LSU is actually going to make it, is well worth it. But Zach, I appreciate you, and we'll talk.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you joining me, holding it down while my internet crapped out, but it's all good.
All right. Cheers, buddy.
All right. See you, bud. All right. Hey, guys, really appreciate Carter being able to join in, and y'all thank y'all for bearing with me. Look, my internet's kind of like Blake's every now and then. It just decides to, I won't say Rudy Poo. Oh, I said Rudy Poo. It decides to be a Rudy Poo. It's Blake staying. He's copyrighted it. But anyways, I want to get to a few comments before we decide to get out of here. I've seen y'all sending in the hashtag Ask Zach. If y'all want to, just go ahead and send in a few more, and we will wrap up the show with just a few more comments addressing those questions, and then we will call it a night. Anthony B. Saint says, Ask Zach, how likely do you think Kim Mulkey can land Haley Van Lith, considering the fact her original her original recruiting came down to Baylor and Louisville. I think it's a great likelihood. I really like LSU's chances. I'm not going to sit here and say that LSU is 100% going to land Haley Van Lith. But obviously, as you mentioned there, that the potential of her coming to LSU, I think a lot of that does go back to her original recruiting with Kim Mulkey at Baylor. And we have continually seen players that wanted to come back and play for Kim Mulkey. We saw it with Alexis Morris. Is that something that potentially that Haley Van Lith wants to do? And here's the other thing that you have to consider. She entered the portal as a no contact. So she knows, either she knows exactly where she's going or she has narrowed it down to X amount of number of schools that she wants to go. Oh, goodness gracious. I knew Blake was going to pop that up. Lucy, it's okay. Thank you for joining the show. Let's see what Ryan said. Ask Zach, do you think UK conceded game 1 to try and win game 2? I really don't think teams ever concede a game. I mean, you're not going to ever, like, in competition in sports, like, teams aren't ever just be like, all right, we're just going to, I mean, not in college baseball. I don't think in college baseball. I'd highly doubt that in college sports as well. I think they knew what they had in game 2 and game 3, and they liked their chances better in game 2 and game 3 and what they were matching up with LSU on the mound. And so they figured, hey, if we're going to steal some, why don't we put our better arms on the back end of the weekend series so maybe we can steal these two. And, you know, then we hope that on Friday this weekend's Thursday, when Skeens is going, maybe, you know, we can have a miracle, because it's going to take a miracle to put out Skeens. I mean, he's going to get his, even if he's having an off day. So anyways, Big J Cole said, should have wore a fake beard to bring the Blake look all together. I know, man. Look, I'm not a beard guy. I can grow it. I don't know. I mean, it's patchy. It's not super patchy. Like, it's not bad, but I just prefer this. I like the cleaner look. So, you know, that's just me. Reagan's got the full beard. Blake's got the full beard. You know, to each their own. Let's see. Kenny Futch said April 28th to 30th, LSU rides the Crimson Tide. Yeah, that's next. So not this weekend, but next weekend, LSU plays Alabama at home. That's a series. You know, these next 5 guys, you really have a great potential to steal a sweep somewhere along the way. Jeremy Hott asked Zach, do you think we finished top 10 in 2024 recruiting class? And do you think not having a D-line coach is hurting the recruiting on the D-line? First off, yes, I do think LSU is going to finish in the top 10. I believe they're at number 5 right now. I fully expect BK and them to maintain that position, if not move up in that position. I do not think LSU would fall out of the top 10. I just don't foresee that in any way. I mean, it would take some drastic changes in order for LSU to fall out of the top 10 and losing some guys that they already have committed. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No. And does it matter if do you think it's hurting the D-line? I don't. Brian Kelly knows what he's doing. I think something I need to mention very quickly, like all of us fans, we need to learn, because I'm a fan too. Okay. I know I do a podcast. I know I'm producing Blake's show, but a lot of us fans, sometimes we think too much that we know a whole lot more than we do. Like, I trust Brian Kelly. I don't know more about college football than Brian Kelly does. I don't know more about college baseball than Jay Johnson does. I don't know more about college basketball than Matt McMahon does. So I'm going to trust in those guys to do what they need to do in order to have success. And I'm trusting BK that he knows what he's doing and holding off on getting a D-line coach. And I promise you, he's doing to the best of his ability in recruiting. And I don't think it's going to falter that much with not having a D-line coach. Now, I say that and say, are they still open for criticism? Yes. I mean, everybody can be criticized, but he's more experienced than me, obviously. So I'm going to trust BK. And I trust Scott Woodward. I mean, Scott Woodward has made phenomenal hires, and he has proven that time and time again. And so I trust Scott Woodward, and he hired BK, and I trust BK to know what he's doing, and he's doing it. We see it time and time again. So somebody asked earlier about if there was going to be a Zach rant. And no, I'm not going to rant. I'm going to leave that to Blake, right? The Ruffino's rants. That's his thing. But this old vet said he'll have to come up with something that has a Z sound like Zach's Zingers. I like that. That's pretty good. I like that. I enjoy that. So yes, there it was. Adam Abear was asking if we were going to get a Zach's rant on. All right. Anything else? Let's see, guys. Do y'all have any other questions in here? Or is that it? We're going to call it a night. This old vet said, impressive. So Zach, thank you. Appreciate that. Jeff Futch and Piersley referring back to Chad Jones dreadlocks. I haven't heard that. Saying that's pretty cool. I mean, again, I was like 10 years old when I watched that, maybe 11, 2009. Ooh, I was probably older. Yeah, I was born in 97. So I was probably 11, 12, something like that. Richard said, is Beth Torina in trouble? I think she does need to get – I think she needs to prove herself this year for sure. I do think she needs to prove herself. And I'm going to be honest, I don't keep up with it as much as LSU softball. I definitely keep up with them on Twitter, but I'm not watching the games because I'm watching LSU baseball and keeping up with other things. So I can't give you a full in-depth answer there. So sorry, Richard, but I do think she needs to get she needs to do a good job this season. I'm not saying she needs to win a national championship, but she needs to do a better job this season. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, I think that is all for tonight. Again, I want to thank Blake as he is enjoying vacation, enjoying time with his wife. He will be back tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow. Blake will be here. I'll be in the background somewhere. And we will see you then. So until then, peace out, Girl Scouts.